It's to 4 p.m. right here on Channel Africa with Poppy and Ntsako. This is the Upside, and we're about to get into a conversation now that a lot of women can relate to. It is Women's Month, so we are chatting about all the intricacies when it comes to relationships dynamics as well. So today, this afternoon, we are chatting about understanding the unspoken tension between mothers and daughters. To unpack this further with us is a former SABC colleague, but she's also a psychologist, Pebetsi Matlaila, joining us to chat further. Good afternoon, Pebetsi. Welcome to The Upside.
Good afternoon, Poppy and Ntsako. Happy to be back with the family.
So good to have you. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Everything when it comes to the mother and daughter relationship, it's supposed to be one of the closest bonds that we are supposed to have, but it doesn't always work out like this. So tell us what some of the challenges often are and why they arise between mother and daughter.
Oh, there are a couple of challenges, but the one that is commonly spoken about in this era, the zeitgeist that everybody goes by, is the mother wound. You've got daughters who never related well with their mothers, and they felt neglected by their mothers, as opposed to being nurtured and raised by their mothers, right? And this goes back years back. In the olden days, the fathers used to go work in the mines, and then the mothers used to go work in the kitchens. So they left the younger child to be raised by the grandparent.
Okay.
And then they don't see their mother as a mother figure because they already have their grandmother as a mother figure. They turn to now look at the mother as a sister, a sibling, somebody they must just respect. And so that's the first thing we notice. There's a little bit of a detachment between the two. And so when the child becomes a teen and now the mother wants to live with that teen, they don't relate, they don't get along because they were not together, in different stages of life. And then the other thing that I've also come to notice, aside from the mother wound, um, mothers tend to baby their sons and expect their daughters to be as strong as they are, you know? And so when a daughter comes across as not being strong as the mother, that the mother can't relate to that well, generational differences, as they call it. And so you find out that the mother and the daughter are not getting along, but the mother seems to give more attention to the son, the boy child. I've also come to notice that mothers expect their daughters to behave in marriages the same way they did. Yeah. If I could handle marriage and its challenges, you can too.
Yeah.
And that is not fair because, the eras we live in are different. Our challenges are also just as different.
But let's talk about the projection of how mothers perceive themselves versus, how they perceive their daughters. Because I feel like a lot of projecting is happening between the two relationships, A mom, because she sees so much of herself in her child, in her daughter, she'll try her utmost best to kind of fix all the mistakes that happened before. How do you navigate that type of relationship?
So, well, first of all, it's not every relationship where you find the mother and the daughter not getting along and there's a generational difference. You do get relationships where the mother and daughter are very good friends. They understand each other. And the mother also assists the daughter in planning, life goals and reaching them as well. Those are rare occasions. When one has that, they should be very grateful.
Sure.
But then when you find the mother and daughter not getting along, it's very interesting and kind of disheartening when you find that the mother is actually jealous of the daughter.
Oh.
Because maybe in those instances, the daughter has managed to do things she couldn't do. The daughter has managed to chase her dreams, achieve her goals, marry the right man, have children, take them to good schools, something that the mother could not do, right? And you'd find mothers that are jealous of that, which I don't understand why, because we all want our children to be better than us, to do better than us.
That's so
And then
scary.
aside from that, it is. And then the other one is where your daughter gets a husband that's abusive and you run to the mother, to get comfort, to get correction, to get consolement. And then the mother says, well, that's how marriage is. Go back.
Mm,
Go back. And, this is what we had to handle. What's wrong with you?
mm,
You
mm.
know? So I guess they expect their daughters, mothers expect their daughters to be as strong as them, to do just like they did. So it's a matter of, I want you to be great, but not better than me.
Sure.
Hectic. Pebetsi, maybe unpack for us behaviorally what a strained relationship between mother and daughter looks like for perhaps the daughter and even the mother, because I don't doubt that she's also suffering in some way by being a toxic mother to her daughter. So maybe unpack what it looks like from a behavioral perspective for us.
Okay. So there are two instances that I can name at the moment. There's the one that I've briefly just explained, where you find the mother being so jealous of the daughter doing better and well, more than she could do when she was younger. So she compares with the daughter. When I was 25, I did this. When I was 30, I did this. And if the daughter is doing it earlier, then she finds herself feeling like a failure. But there's also another component where you would find what we call the daughter is attached behavior, where their mother becomes so much a part of their personal life that the mother ends up actually controlling everything about her life, the decisions she makes about partners, the decisions she makes about a career to follow. The mother is living her goals and her dreams through the daughter vicariously, you know, and they become too attached where they don't know where to cut the cord and say, here, I'm going to let you go to do your life the way you should. So there's those two instances where the mother ends up being too attached and they're too involved in their child's life because they're trying to live vicariously, or a mother detaching themselves and actually acting like what we call maybe an enemy of some sort.
Yeah.
Now, in psychology, we have what we call the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And the Maslow hierarchy of needs just stages the needs that from a child to an adult would need throughout their lifespan. Okay. And so when you reach a certain age, I guess when you start being a young adult, when your teens are done, you're 20 and you're developing into young adulthood, that's where your autonomy comes into place, self-respect, self-awareness, self-worth come into being. Those are your needs. And the detachment, autonomy means dependence, right? Where your dependence comes into play, then the parent does not know how to deal well with the fact that you don't need her anymore. You can do life without her. And that is a normal thing, but most parents struggle to relate to that. And that's how they end up being so much a part of their child's life, the daughter's life, that you're even within the marriage as well. Your daughter gets married and you still want to live in the house, the marital home
Happens a
with your
lot.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pebetsi, we're going to continue the conversation. We just need to take a quick break. As you know, on radio, this is what we do, but we're going to chat back with you in the next couple of moments. Please hang on. We need to continue this conversation. It is 10 to 4 on the Upside.
African Diaries with Teach Mataz. Catch it on the Channel Africa app, SABC Plus, and on channelafrica.co.za. Weekdays.
The one and only Tongai Arnold Chirisa. My man.
Drum rolls, please.
You know, when you started out on Studio 266 way back in the day, did you know you become the Hollywood superstar that you are today?
You know what was funny? Like I used to do a thing with my brothers that back in the day when you had to go to like a DVD store to loan out the DVD so you can watch it and then return it. You know, before the movie started, there was like 10 minutes of commercials or like trailers, and we still had that dude that did the commercial voice.
Yeah.
So every time, he would say the name Will Smith, Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
I would literally put my name in there as well. I had no idea why I used to do that, but it was just like, one day is one day. That's what I knew. But this is before like I truly had an idea of that I really wanted to be an actor.
Africa's voices, Africa's journeys. They're all on African Diaries. Good news travels. Stream the Upside on our YouTube, X, Facebook, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za.
You live with Poppy and Ntsako. This is the Upside at Channel Africa 1. We're continuing our conversation with psychologist Pebetsi Matlaila, who's chatting to us about the unspoken tension between mothers and daughters and how that impacts our lives.
Pebetsi, let's talk about repair, because I think we understand where we are with our mothers. We understand that it is a very tough place. And for me, I think the goal, and maybe selfishly so, is for everyone to kind of have the relationship that I have with my mother. You know, we had a strained relationship in my teen years. And then I got to my 20s and I realized, I'm being hard on this woman and she's just a girl as well. And we found our way to each other so beautifully. How does one repair? And also, whose responsibility is it to repair? Because I think I don't want to just place it on, the parent, because I don't think that's particularly fair, especially when the child maybe knows better or knows more clinically and psychologically about the impact of their relationship.
No, you're absolutely right, Ntsako. You can't solely blame it on the parent. Because then again, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? Most of the time, it's a matter of I grew up this way and I came out okay, so I'll raise you the same way, So, but what I've come to notice is the best way to reestablish a relationship, a proper one, with your mother is to have the uncomfortable conversation. Most people are scared to have the uncomfortable conversation. That's the conversation where you sit your mother down and you let your mother know where you needed her, where she was not available for you, what she made you feel like in certain instances. You feel overlooked, you feel like you need to be the deputy mother, especially if you're the firstborn. So those conversations are necessary, but they're sensitive as well. So you need to be careful of how you have those conversations. Some people resort to family therapy, where you have a facilitator in between, because maybe some conversations or some, a certain topic might be too hard to handle and somebody gets fired up and walks out. And that's why family therapy comes into play. But if you have a parent that can sit and really listen to how you feel, then have that uncomfortable conversation and actually make sure you announce that it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. And I've come to see personally that works, actually. It works. Sit them down, let them know, not fighting, but just saying, in my adulthood, I feel like I needed you in my teens or when I was younger and you were not there because you were busy taking care of a man or you're busy working, And so those kind of conversations may be uncomfortable, but they are necessary.
You've just touched on something that I want to ask you about now, and that's what the mothers seem to qualify as them being absent. So what are some of the reasons that you've seen in your practice and in the stuff that the work that you do, that mothers say they hindered them in terms of becoming like the amazing mother to the daughter, when you can see them doing amazingly with the son? Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a conscious switch, because there's no ways you can be amazing to your son and then literally the same age or 2 years apart, the person who looks like you, talks like you, you're a different person. So what are the restrictions and maybe the challenges for the mothers when they're relating to their daughters in that instance?
So what I've come to discover through my observation is that within the Black community, Black people, a woman is expected to be strong and keep it moving. That's why we have phrases like imbokoto. That's why we have phrases like mosadi tshwara thipa ka bogaleng. Because
what does that mean, Pebetsi? Sorry to interrupt you. What does that mean?
You take the knife by the...
So mosadi tshwara thipa ka bogaleng means a woman holds the knife on the sharp end.
Oh, in Nguni they say intombi bamba intsimbi shisa.
Yeah.
A woman holds the steel, a hot iron while it's still hot.
Yes. So those phrases come from the analogy that Black women have always been strong and you just have to be strong, right? And so when a traumatic event takes place, society and the community doesn't offer you or afford you the time to heal and deal with that pain.
Sure.
They expect you to put on your big girl panties, pull up your socks and get back in the grind. And I've come to notice that our Caucasian counterparts don't do that. Our Caucasian counterparts are offered the opportunity to go heal. The family will take care of the newborn. The father will find something to do to take care of the newborn while the mother deals with her so-called maybe postpartum depression. We are expected to pull up our socks and keep going. And that is what actually forms the division between the mother and daughter relationship. Because when you are heartbroken, when you just came from a divorce, when you just gave birth and you're busy dealing with postpartum depression, the mother who's from a different generation who does not have a word or the jargon for whatever you're dealing with expects you to be so strong and keep it moving. They don't expect you to come and pour out their hearts to them. And that is the generational difference that we have, where mothers and daughters can't relate because you're expected to do the same thing the mother did. You know,
I feel like under
if
the
I
guise
could-
that they survived, you know, because I survived this, you'll be able to survive it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I feel like that is the division right there. The reason why they fail to understand each other is because we know how to name our pain, our traumas, and we know what's necessary to heal. They did not have that. They were meant to just keep it moving.
But Betsy, if
They were
people
meant
want
to be strong.
if people want to get a hold of you, where can we find you to unpack this further, or any other psychological issues?
Oh, okay. I always do post some tips about psychological issues on my social media platforms. And they can find me on Instagram at Pebetsi Matlaila. On TikTok, I'm Nolo Matlaila because somebody already took Pebetsi. So I'm Nolo Matlaila. And then on Facebook, it's Pebetsi Nolo Matlaila. On
Fantastic.
X, it's also Nolo Matlaila.
You are the best. So lovely chatting to you this afternoon. Thank you for your insights and all your knowledge on this very important topic. Have a good afternoon. Pebetsi Matlaila, our psychologist, this afternoon on Channel Africa.